Football from Yard, the People's Channel.
Cross, Robbie, oh, he met it so well. And Whitmore! Theodore Whitmore. One absent without leave, this is Whitmore. Hall and Gale both available, it's still Whitmore. And it's now 2-0.
Blessings once more, Football from Yard Massive, as we review Jamaica's first World Cup qualifying game under new coach Paul Hall. A match where the Reggae Boyz lost 2-1 in a gut-wrenching defeat to CONCACAF powerhouse Mexico inside the National Stadium. Jamaica's goal was courtesy of a 50th minute strike from midfielder Danielle Johnson, and Mexico's goals were scored in the 81st and 83rd minute via Henry Martin and Alexis Vega respectively. Compared to recent matches, Paul Hall went with a more attacking lineup, at least on paper. Andre Blake occupied the starting position in goal. Premier League defender Ethan Pinock returned to the squad for the first time since the qualifier against Panama. He was joined in the centre of the defence by Damien Lowe. Kemar Taxi-Lawrence and youngster Javed Brown retained their starting spots at left and right back respectively. Devon Speedy Williams anchored the midfield, while English-based duo Ravel Morrison and Danielle Johnson played in more advanced roles. Junior Flemings, fresh off his recent transfer to France, occupied the left side of the attacking trio, and Miami FC youngster Lamar Walker occupied the right, getting his second consecutive start of the campaign. Lethal English Premier League striker Michael Antonio led the attack. The first half was mainly one-way traffic heading toward the Jamaican goal. Despite this, the Mexicans were limited to half chances. Unfortunately, the half ended on a bitter note for Jamaica, with Damien Lowe receiving a red card after a review by the video assistant referee system. As expected from a team down to 10 men, Jamaica largely bunkered in the second half, attempting to spring a few attacks from the counter. Fortunately for Jamaica, in the 50th minute, they were able to convert a corner kick into a goal courtesy of Danielle Johnson's left foot. The team kept the Mexicans at bay for 30 more minutes before an unfortunate series of events led to two late Mexican goals. Most of the players displayed energy and fight on the night, but few had truly outstanding performances. Goalkeeper Andre Blake was under pressure early and was up to the task, or fortunate to benefit from poor Mexican finishing. Unfortunately, Blake's luck ran out in the second half as the Mexican players but two passed him. Blake's distribution was horrible throughout the game, and he continuously put the team under pressure with his turnovers. He gets a score of 5. Damien Lowe had a rough night. He was a turnover machine throughout the first half, as most of his passes seemed to go to the opposition. Lowe's defending was a lot better than his passing, but he seemed to be playing on the edge all night. And he received a red card at the end of the first half on a video review challenge. He gets a score of 4. Ethan Pinock was Jamaica's best defender on the night and showed his pedigree whether on the ground or in the air. His passing was vastly superior to the other defenders, and he made a number of timely interceptions to disrupt dangerous Mexican attacks. With Lowe suspended for the next match, Pinock's return to the team was much needed. He gets a score of 8. Kemar Lawrence looked vulnerable against the Mexican attack. Taxi, while still quick, no longer has blistering pace to close down any and all attackers. In order to compensate, Lawrence plays very narrow in the defensive line, essentially giving away the touchline to the opposition. In possession, Taxi remains a dangerous weapon, particularly on crosses and set pieces. He gets a score of 6. Javed Brown had a game of 2 halves. He had a horrendous first half where his youthful exuberance was on full display, and he was struggling as the Mexicans overloaded his wing. His passing was poor, and defensively he appeared overwhelmed. In the second half, he looked like a new player as he repeatedly frustrated the Mexicans. Unfortunately, Brown had to depart the game early with an injury in the 80th minute. He gets a score of 5. Devon Speedy Williams once again covered a lot of ground. While he didn't do a lot of tackling, he did a fairly good job of blocking the passing lanes and intercepting the ball. Speedy's passing was a little bit off to open the game, but then he settled as the game went on. Williams did a lot of covering for the wing players and the midfielders on the night, but with some systematic improvements in how the team rotates on defense, a lot of the running that he's doing can be avoided. He gets a 6. Ravel Morrison was substandard and didn't have much of an impact on the game. Morrison made the occasional good short pass, but his passing and dribbling were uncharacteristically poor. Morrison was trying to put in challenges in the midfield, especially in the second half, but looked a half step slow on the day. He gets a 5. Danielle Johnson took a while to get into the game, but eventually stepped up the tempo and looked like the best player on the team. He seemed unbothered by the Mexicans when in possession as he dribbled or executed his passes. He also did his fair share of work on the defensive side. Johnson got one opportunity to score and made no mistake when the opportunity presented itself. He gets a score of 8. Junior Flemings put in a lot of running on the night up and down the flank. He was very effective at shielding the ball, keeping the Mexicans at bay and drawing fouls. The right side of the team was being bombarded by the Mexicans until Flemings switched to that flank to support Javed Brown. He did have a few unforced errors, but they were far less than his recent performances. The Mexicans' first goal seemed to have deflated Flemings, and his defensive effort was noticeably diminished thereafter. He gets a score of 6. Lamar Walker had his moments on the night and got more into the game as it went on. Initially, Walker struggled to gain possession or defensively support his wingback. He improved once he switched to the left flank. With the change, he was able to run with the ball more, and the Mexicans resorted to fouling him. Unfortunately for Walker, as he was beginning to get into the game, Damian Lowe received a red card, and he was removed in order to put on a central defender on the field. He gets a 6. Michael Antonio had a difficult night, as he was starved of service throughout the game. He was put through on goal on one play, but the Mexican defender did well to block his shot. Despite Antonio's limited direct impact on the game, he still influenced the match, however. Antonio's solo effort in the second half led to a series of corner kicks and Jamaica's goal. He was pretty much running on fumes by the time he was substituted. He gets a score of 6. Liam Moore entered the fray in the second half, and the defense began to look much more organized. As usual, his distribution was tidy, and he executed a couple of strong tackles. With Damian Lowe suspended, it would be very surprising if Moore doesn't start the game against Panama. He gets a score of 6. Greg Lay provided a much-needed boost of energy in the second half. In addition to defending well, Lay was able to get forward to join the attack, despite the team being down to 10 men. We will see if Coach Hall considers him for a start in the next game. He gets a score of 6. Andre Gray struggled to have much of an impact on the game and looked a step off the pace. He had a couple opportunities to create danger. On one, he had the opportunity to shoot, but instead made a poor pass, and on a breakaway, he inexplicably passed the ball to the Mexicans. He gets a score of 5. Albus Powell spent the least amount of time on the field, but was the most impactful player. Powell entered the fray for an injured Javed Brown, and the defensive structure on the right side immediately dissolved. Throughout his career, Powell has had a tendency to cause goals by losing sight of his opponent when the ball is on the opposite flank. This game was no different. Lapse number 1 occurred a couple minutes after his entrance, and lapse number 2 occurred 2 minutes later. And with those lapses went all the points. He gets a score of 3. Undoubtedly, the team will be gutted after being so close to taking 3 points and leaving the match with none. With the loss, World Cup qualification, while still mathematically possible, is becoming more and more unlikely. Fortunately for Jamaica, the team in the 4th place playoff spot and Jamaica's next opponent, Panama, lost to Costa Rica. With a win in the next game, Jamaica keeps its slim hopes alive. Without a win, the campaign is pretty much over. Respect for watching the review, and hopefully the next time we talk, the team will finally be heading in the right direction.
Cross, Robbie! Oh, he met it so well. And Whitmore! Theodore Whitmore. An absent without leave. This is Whitmore. Hall and Gale both available. It's still Whitmore. And it's now 2-0.